Okay, it looks like I'm live. Hello, everybody. Ooh, I think the mic might be too loud. Hold on. I think I can turn this down one. Let me know if it's too loud, everybody. Let me know. Let me know. Yeah, I'm live. I can definitely turn it down if it's too loud. Do let me know. Thank you all so much. Great, perfect. So nice to have so many of you here. It is actually light outside, which is amazing that I'm actually going live at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock here in the UK, and it's actually light outside. So I'm super happy. So hi to everybody. Thank you so much for joining. We love these. Give me a like or a thumbs up if you love these lives as much as I do, because I love them. And it makes me just feel really connected to an amazing community out there like you all who are so interested in the life of Alberta. Oh my gosh, Kathy, it's 4 a.m. in Australia. You're awake for the live. That's amazing. So do be sure to say where you are tuning in from. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Lots of people from the States, but really people from all over the world. And it's brilliant. I do feel like you've all become a little bit British if you're not in this country and you live elsewhere, because we do talk about the weather all the time here. So do let me know, do let everybody know what the weather's like where you are. It's such a British thing. Literally, that's what we talk about over here. And I'm not even British. Okay, so first of all, I want to touch base with you all. Tonight is going to be a jam-packed live. So I want to touch base with you. Amazing seeing so many of you tuning in. We've got so many people joining live. This is incredible. I wanted to touch base with you, first of all, about obviously the Muniment room. We'll be talking about that. If you have not seen my Instagram stories today, and you do have Instagram, you can see the progress. I am a little bit sore. It's been 2 full days and I've got about 4 more days to go. So Barry and I are back in the Miniment room tomorrow doing the skirting, but we have painted the walls. It's a beautiful wall color. It's like a moss green, and we've done 2 coats on one wall. There were some bits that we really needed to also do today. Just some well, you'll see on the YouTube video when we put it on Mapperton Live. It's quite funny. But we're like, oh my gosh, we have to do this and we have to do this. And then we're like, oh, we've got to paint. So Barry has been amazing. And so I'm going to update you on the Muniment room. I've got a couple letters here, everybody, that I'm pointing to that I just want to touch base with. They come through the 1905 letters, which is a stack here. And then I have a wonderful reading inside of this envelope typed up, and it's from George. Well, it's about George, Alberta's husband, what it was like for him as a little boy growing up. And I think when we'll end with that, it is wonderful. So you will definitely want to grab a cup of tea for this. It's unbelievable. So and I found it last week and I gave it to my father-in-law to read, and he absolutely loved it as well. So, but before I start with Muniment room and then going on to the letters and then going on to what's typed up here, which is you're just going to sit back, relax, and just listen to a story it's a real life story being told. I want to discuss this. Now, there has been a huge amount of interest, everybody, in Alberta's cookbook. So what I'm about to do is a couple of things. So I'm going to get very excited. Hopefully you're going to get excited as well. We have decided that we're going to have a summer supper club. And if it works out well, we'll do these every quarter. And what that means is we're going to do, like what we do here, YouTube Live. It is going to be a live through YouTube where you can chat amongst each other. and I will be in the Mapperton kitchen with a chef that we use here at Mapperton for various occasions, events, weddings, and is absolutely brilliant. Brilliant chef. And we are going to be doing a summer supper club, and it will be a 3-course meal based on 3 recipes that you all are going to help me choose. So hear me out on that. So Alberta's cookbook right here is beautiful. I'm very careful with it. I keep it in the jiffy bag all of the time. And we're going to pick a starter, a main, and a pudding. Those of you who sign up, it will be ticketed and it won't be it won't even be expensive, right? So we've got to cover costs, and also the ticket proceeds will, again, go back into Mapperton, and so into Mapperton and the projects that we're doing here. So I'm good. I'm so happy people love a summer supper club. Now, this is going to dates. You're probably wondering when. So dates are, it's either going to be I was thinking about doing it around the coronation, but I think the coronation is so exciting that it's going to be too much to do it around then. And I did look in her book to see if she had anything like, you know, apart from her Prince Regent's punch, I was looking to see if there was anything sort of coronation linked there, and there's not. But so then I thought we'll do a summer supper club, which will be absolutely fantastic. So I'm just checking this link. If you want to register your interest, and so that you are on the list, here it is. There is a list that I am forming. And yeah, so we will, here we go. Here is the list, everybody, in the link. And if you're watching this later on, I'll put the link in the description down below, and you can click the link and just register. You can just put yourself on the wait list. So we will then send you the ingredients beforehand so that you can so you're cooking live with us. That's the whole plan, is to cook live with us this 3-course meal. It will be on either a Saturday or Sunday, either the end of May or the beginning of June, but I will know those dates, the secure date, in the next couple of weeks. So that is for sure. So you will be given the printed recipe from, no one's seen this recipe book apart from me and basically family members. So you will be given also, with your ticket, you will be given the recipes scanned exactly as they are here. How brilliant is that? So the ones that Alberta typed up, you will be given those as well. So I think it's really, really exciting. And I would love you guys to join. So there is the link. I'm going to put it in again. So do check it out and make sure you get on the wait list. And it's good. And I will be cooking with the chef that we'll be using, and Luke will, of course, make an appearance as well. Now, where I can really use your help is after this live, I'm going to be going back to YouTube, and you'll see it today or this evening or this morning, depending on your time zone. And I will be putting 5, we're just going to start with a starter. Today, I'll be putting out 5 possible starter recipes, and whatever gets the most percentage, the highest percentage of what people want, will be the recipe that we're going to choose. So I think that's quite exciting. And then next week, when we go back on live, I'll be doing as she writes, the entrees. So we'll be doing the entrees. And again, whatever gets the highest the most amount of likes, if you like, we will be doing that. And then and then our next live, we will be looking at the different sweets. And as far as drinks go, we will be looking at doing a drink as well. So I'm really, really excited about this. This is just Alberta's Summer Supper Club. And you are going to be deciding, or you're going to be helping me decide through a YouTube poll which recipe you would like. And again, we'll go with the most popular one that is polled. So again, I will be doing this tonight, and I will be starting with a a starter. Actually, you'll probably be getting more than that because I'm looking at it now and there will be some side dishes as well. So all in all, it'll probably be 5 recipes that you will be, fantastic. Thank you, Deborah, that you will be given from Alberta's cookbook as well as the cook along, which I think will be so much fun and really with a proper chef. And I'll just be there as the sous chef. So I'm really excited. And then you will again get, of course, a scanned copy using the digital scanner right here sent to you as well. So yes, thank you. Will I be teaching the cooking class? Yes. So it'll be, I'm not a qualified chef, and these are quite extraordinary recipes here. I mean, they are beautifully done and beautifully documented, that I do think it's better to bring in somebody who's had training and experience to cook these the right way. So this will be a proper live cooking course, if you like, and which is really, really exciting. So proper live cooking course with a chef that we use here in Dorset. I will be the sous chef, and Luke will be moderating the questions that come through the chat as well. So that, and you, when you purchase your ticket, again, it will be very, it's a good price. It's a very, very good price. And you will be getting the recipes from her cookbook as well, which I think are, hate to use MasterCard's term, but which are really priceless. And that is really, really exciting. So it's interesting what you asked about the US measurements. It's different. Do you know, she doesn't have measurements, everybody. So if I were to just look at, one of the recipes, none of them, it's crazy. So she'll put like 6 or 8 onions sliced, a few sprigs of thyme, a little parsley, 4 or 5 bay leaves, salt and pepper. Set the dish in a cool lauter, which means just basically set the dish in your refrigerator. For the batter, put into a basin 2 tablespoons of flour, 1 tablespoon of oil, a small beer and water mixed half and half. Beat this up well, but keep it thinning, about the consistency of cream. So we will make sure also, since I will be on there and the chef is British that we will be using, I'm American, so I will be able to translate if anything comes from like, I don't know, 50 grams, measure up 50 grams, I can sort of convert that for you, which will be brilliant. So get excited. My kind of cook as well, everybody. That's why I loved her cookbook. I'm like, this is fantastic. Like much easier to follow. So even for a brown sauce, she says, place into a stew pan 4 ounces of your best butter, 2 tablespoons of flour. Keep this on the fire long enough to melt the butter. Do you know what I mean? Like it's amazing. And even if I go into, some of the, it's amazing. Oh my God, I can't even, it's incredible, you guys. This cookbook is just outstanding. Even if I go into, mushrooms a la bordelaise. Having dried the mushrooms in a napkin, warm them on both sides in the freshest oil. Then, in another saucepan, heat some of the oil into which you have thrown some chopped parsley and a little shallot. Cook these on a moderate fire, taking in turn and move them frequently. When they're done, add a small piece of glaze and a very little cayenne pepper. If very fresh oil is not on hand, good butter will do nearly as well. Who wouldn't want that recipe? It's brilliant. Some of them, but so we've got the chef on hand who will be able to make these beautiful. And it is going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be live. So yes. So really, really exciting. And the cooking event, Jennifer, it's going to be through YouTube Live. We will not pick ingredients that will be hard to get. So, or anything that's going to take like super long hours, right? I think the cook along will be probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours, because we do want to do a Q&A after. So once the 3 recipes are created, we want to do a, here's the link right there. We want to do a Q&A afterwards because you probably want to ask us questions around that. So exactly, Cheryl's just said her grandmother cooked like that. I mean, how genius is this cookbook? So I will be putting out some options tonight my time. So do look at that on YouTube, and we'll be taking a poll for that. And I'll be in the poll. I'll be putting the link for you to sign up to join the wait list. So that's that. Really, really exciting. And everybody seems so excited about it as well, which is brilliant. So now I want to move into an update on the Muniment room. I kind of talked about that a little bit more. I can't go live in there yet because I don't want to give too much away, and you can look at my Instagram and see it there, but it's still just filled with bookcases in the middle of the room, ladders, paint tins. Do you know what I mean? It's like a wreck in a good way. So yes, a proper historic cooking supper club live on YouTube. I know it's going to be so much fun. So much fun. And so, but what we've, as I've just said earlier in the conversation, those of you who are just joining now, we have done nearly 2 coats of paint, not quite, but nearly. We've done 1 coat of paint all the way around, the lovely sort of moss sagey green color. And 1 wall has a 2nd coat, and it looks amazing, everybody. Like the 2nd coat, I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait for this room to be finished because the 2nd coat, just, you're like, wow. So tomorrow we will be finishing the 2nd coat on the other 2 walls. And because actually the window that was discovered, that wall is complete as well. And then we will be doing the skirting. So we will be doing the skirting, and which is fantastic. We'll be doing the skirting, and then we start the bookcases as well. So we do start the bookcases, and which is brilliant. And I should have the bookcases done in the next couple of days. And then over Easter, I will be working on the floors by myself because it's Easter and most people have Easter off. And over in this country, we have Good Friday, and then we also have Easter Monday. So it's actually a 4-day holiday, if you like. Well, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. But I am going to be working and hopefully getting those, the floors finished. So next week I can start to furnish it, which is really, really exciting. The curtains won't be finished until the end of April. So the curtains won't be up, but I will be able to install hopefully the curtain pole next week and basically furnish it with almost everything and put all of the archives back. And I've ordered the fireproof storage. So that should be arriving after Easter. Obviously it couldn't arrive now, it's quite heavy. I wanted it to arrive once I knew that the Muniment room was there. But also, can I just mention this to everybody? Oh my gosh, the ceiling. The ceiling is like incredible. Wait till we do a proper video on this, on the before and after. The ceiling, it's like shocking how different it looks. It's just literally unbelievable. So today I just kept looking up at the ceiling being like, this is incredible. This is incredible. And also March has proved to be a really wet month, and seems to have fixed the leak with the lead roof up above, which is fantastic and which is brilliant. So no leaks so far, fingers crossed. And we will of course be monitoring that as well. We will be monitoring that. So that's that Muniment room. Those of you who are joining and you still want to donate to the Muniment room, you of course can. If you want to get an American Viscountess notebook, pen, and key ring, you can head to buy me a coffee. I'm closing it down next week once I'm finished. So that is the end of it. So if you want to donate, and in return you get some I helped make it happen certificate, one of Alberta's beautiful scanned letters where she talks about Mapperton here, which astonished us all, or you would like some a token appreciation, some American Viscountess merchandise, here is the link right here. So that's what I will say that. But other than that, I mean, we've raised so much and it's been incredible. And you guys are awesome and amazing and just brilliant and just fantastic. So I couldn't have done any of this without your generosity and your support. And like even watching the ads, all of the video ad revenue from these YouTube lives go towards the Muniment room, which is brilliant. So all of the ads, ad revenue. So if you do get an ad, do be sure, if you can, watch the ad because it actually helps with video ad revenue. Brilliant. Deborah, contact me because everybody has received theirs. I haven't had anybody not receive theirs. So you didn't receive a key ring. Jane, no, it should have been in your box. Did you receive Jane, have you filled out the form to receive the key ring, the notebook and the pen? Do let me know down below. So Jennifer's just said that she just received hers. So Jennifer, if you could just let Deborah know how long ago that was. People are receiving them this week. So I think if you can let everybody know, they might still be coming through. Remember, the postal system is slow, but you should be getting them. But let me know, Deborah. Yes. Yes. So you received, so Jane, if you could just, I will look because I can then resend you the key ring. Yeah. In a different package. I'm really sorry about that. I don't know if it fell out or if somebody opened up your package or if it just wasn't in there. So definitely I will get that key ring sent to you. I will make a note of that. In fact, you received them about a week ago and she's in Los Angeles. So I'm just going to write this down. Deborah hasn't received it, which is a real shame. Package, and Jane, you need to receive the key ring. So I can do that over Easter. No problem. I will make sure. Oh, you never filled out, I thought you did, Deborah, filled out a form where I asked to receive your address. Anyway, I can send that. Christy's received it. Good quality. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Perfect. So Deborah, but I'm sure I looked and it was sent to you. But anyway, I will give you a link and we will do that. So fantastic. Thank you, Christy, for saying that. Yeah, they're nice quality. They're good quality merchandise. That is for sure. So yes. Yes. So Jennifer, on the last live last week, we discussed going to AM Digital, and it was a fantastic meeting. It was brilliant. So as far as the transcribing goes, oh, that's why, Deborah. But I'm sure I sent it to you. But if you can fill out the form, then it's much easier. Just because I'm just going to put this out there for everybody. I get sent so many emails, which I love, 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 love. But I can't respond to all of them as much as I would like to, and I don't have a virtual or personal assistant. And I probably get about 230 emails a day, and a lot of it is to do with the Alberta Research Project, which is amazing and I love, and you guys are all sending me information, and I keep it in a folder, but I wish I could respond to every single one, and that's why I do lives, so that I can help at least respond to some of your questions here. And I just wish I had the time to respond to all of them, but I want you to know that I do get all of your emails and I love every single one of them, and I read every single one, and the useful information that you're sending through, it goes into a folder called the Alberta Research Project so that I can look at it later. But I wish I could respond to all of them, and I'm sorry that I can't. But you guys are amazing for sending me, so definitely. As far as transcribing goes, just so to give you guys an update on that, we have been advised by AM Digital, which is going to be really, really incredible and helpful. and they have given us incredible advice. So my plan is over the next couple of weeks, we have picked our 48 virtual volunteers, and we will be having a Zoom with them on the 15th of April. And within those 48 volunteers, 8 of them are what we call virtual volunteer mentors, and they will be mentoring 5 people, helping them if they have questions with transcribing or anything like that. And we chose those 8 because they have experience in basically transcribing, which is really helpful. So we'll also be setting up Zooms with each of them just to help. Now, what I have to do next and what Lucy and I will be doing is I will be using my scanner. And again, over this next month, I will be scanning about 480 of Alberta's letters. I know, 480 Alberta letters. We will be putting them in a safe place, obviously. And then Lucy will be taking those letters and putting them in Word document, as in the picture of it. And we have a way that everybody that will be talking to the virtual volunteers about how there will be sort of best practice on how they will be transcribed. So how they will be transcribed. So as far as my dissertation goes, no, that is, it's a master's in country house studies, and it's on Alberta Sturges. And I've written my 3,000 words in order for me to submit so that I can get an extension. And I have that extension. So my dissertation won't be due until September 2024. And the reason for that is because of these letters. I simply cannot write a dissertation without knowing what's in thousands of letters. So yes. So that is the dissertation until I start getting some of the letters back, and we'll be reading these letters on our lives, which is really exciting. Once they start coming in, we will be reading these lives. And so these YouTube lives will, once we start getting the letters back, will be more focused on the discoveries. So right now we're kind of in this holding period because I'm renovating a Muniment room and another cottage on the estate. And we need to get all of this sorted and have our first big Zoom with everybody who are the virtual volunteers to explain the process. And then I will start to scan them. And the scanner is amazing. So I can just literally click, 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 scan them up. Then Lucy will take those, stick them in a Word document, each letter, and we will send 10 letters each to the 48 virtual volunteers, which is fantastic. So yes, and it is called a dissertation because it is quite in depth, this one. Even though it's a master's, it is called a dissertation. Would I publish the Alberta cookbook? That is the plan. So the plan is to publish the Alberta cookbook, but not until my dissertation is finished. so not until my dissertation is finished, which is brilliant and really, really exciting. So yes, these chairs are Chippendale chairs. So thank you. Yeah, they are. They're brilliant. They're Chippendale chairs. And so that's that. Now, one thing I just want to read to you. It is all very, very exciting. One thing I do want to read to you. So remember, moving forward, once we start getting the virtual volunteers' letters back that have been transcribed, we will be able to, I will be reading these out to you on the lives, and you will see that when we do these lives, mostly every week, I will say discovered, Alberta went to the coronation in 1911. I don't know if she did, but I suspect she went to the one in 1937. I don't know if she did, but we will be reading those letters out loud, which is really, really exciting. And yes, I will absolutely share my dissertation once it's done, 18 months from now. So there you go. So, but one of the letters that I was looking through, this packet is, all of her packets are just incredible. But this packet in particular were all letters which I've discovered that Alberta wrote to George. So she got the letters back. They've been in a folder, and they're all the letters that she actually wrote to George. They are in here, and there's a lot of them. I mean, there must be, I don't know. And this is just in 1905, and this was basically from their engagement through to their wedding, through to the end of the year. But they're to George specifically, whereas these letters that I have been able to sort are 1905, and they are pretty much to her mother. So these are her letters to her mother. So there is a separation there. And what I will notice here, or what I do want to read here, is she did write on her honeymoon, and everybody knows that I love Italy, and she went to Italy on her honeymoon. I mean, can you believe that? So there you go. Yes, Cheryl, the scanner does do photos. So I'm not going to read the whole letter, but she writes to her mother, and she says, she writes saying, we go tomorrow to Florence at 10 a.m. on Thursday. And she says, it seems so strange not to have had any letters at all from you. And then she writes, 4 weeks today since we have been married. Incredible. And all things so new, comma, so new. Though George is the dearest person with the sweetest nature that I've ever known. And then she says, every now and then I stop short and think. And then she puts in quotes, get ready for it, everybody. Not you, hyphen, Alberta married. And then she continues and says, and then I believe in miracles and understand how it all happened. So there you go. Yes, I'll be reading George's letters as well. So I just thought that was really interesting. And then she just sort of writes a little bit about how she went to the piazza at Santa Maria Novella. I mean, I should give this to my son. She put the noise is deafening, especially after Venice. And then she talks a little bit about her time in Italy. And I just think that that is a beautiful, beautiful letter. Yes, there are engagement and wedding photos, and those will be those will go through. Those will go through the scanner as well. So we'll be able to go through the scanner. Oh my gosh! Thank you, Vicky. Thank you so much, Vicky. You became a patron. That's amazing, 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 wonderful, incredible, just incredible. And then what I do want to laugh at is she's back from her honeymoon, and she called George for a time. She called George my beloved boy. And she writes here, this is about November 1905. And what's funny is that in London, our flat in London is right by Clapham Junction. And I think during that period, 100 and some years ago, Clapham Junction was chaotic. It still is chaotic. It's London's busiest train station. And she writes and says, my beloved boy, I arrived safely. And she says, I'm not least bit tired. And now I sit watchless, the sunset, a golden red, behind the pines. The carpet has played havoc, but it's good taste. And then she says that, but the servants have just about made it look like Clapham Junction. That's like a chaotic train station. No, I wouldn't have you see it like this for worlds. So it's quite funny. So she's come home to I think they've just moved into their house. So it says Chalfont Lodge, and they've just moved into their house, and it's obviously quite chaotic with all of their stuff. So I just thought that was quite funny. I'm like, oh my gosh, Clapham Junction. That's literally where I live in London, where we live in London. It's just there's so many similarities. I think Alberta and George were much more of an arranged marriage. Yes, absolutely. I do think that, but I do believe that they were absolutely in love, which is fantastic. So this is the point, everybody, that I would love if you could just grab a cup of coffee or a tea wherever you are right now. Grab a tea, grab a cup of coffee, and just really take a moment to sit back and relax while I read this, if everybody's okay with just me reading this. And again, this is something that I found, and I think I found it absolutely fascinating. So just to give you a little bit of context here, Hinchingbrooke House, that's why I am called Viscountess Hinchingbrooke. It's a very, very grand house. It's now a school. It was sold by Alberta's son, her firstborn son, after the Second World War. Like so many houses were sold or they were demolished. The property taxes were crazy. Taxes were basically bonkers after the Second World War in order to pay for the war. So the bigger the house and the more land you had, the higher tax you had to pay. I mean, it was something above 80%. It was impossible for people to even many of these people to keep these homes. And so Alberta's son tried everything he could to keep the house. We do know that, and I'll be talking about that in one of either an American Viscountess or Mapperton Live video. He did try everything he could. National Trust, English Heritage, opening it up to the public, and he couldn't, and he had to sell. But do you know what? All things work out for a reason, and he ended up, of course, buying Mapperton because there was Montague land adjacent to here, which we still have. So there was a reason coming down here. And if you remember the letter that I read when Alberta visited Hook Court, which a building that used to be owned by our family. She visited Hook Court and she happened to peek in on the neighbors here at Mapperton Court. And she says, I quote, "Never in all my life have I seen a more beautiful small Elizabethan manor." So it was meant to be, right? So it was totally meant to be. But Hinchingbrooke, the house, is really as a castle. It was called back in the day Hinchingbrooke Castle. It had been in the family since 1625. That is when Sidney Montague, the father of the first Earl of Sandwich, Edward Montague, bought it from the Cromwells, and not the Oliver Cromwell protector that we think of. Yes, his family. It was his uncle, Oliver Cromwell, who owned Hinchingbrooke Castle and sold it to the Montagues, to Sidney Montague. And then, of course, later on, Edward Montague brought Charles II back in 1660 from exile for the restoration of the monarchy. And that's when he was given the title Earl of Sandwich. And he was given the title Sandwich because at that time, it was a great naval port and he was head of the Admiralty. So he chose Earl of Sandwich. And then, of course, his honorary titles were, you had like several of them, Earl, Viscount, and Baron. And so at that time, you would sort of choose, if you lived in a big house, you would sort of choose that as your sort of the name attached to the title. And that's why it's Viscount and Viscountess Hinchingbrooke. So we still, of course, have an affiliation with Hinchingbrooke. I've planted a tree there. I filmed there. And we still have several paintings that we loaned to the school there that I will be bringing back. I've requested to take some of them back and hang them here at Mapperton, 7 in total. And I'll be filming all of that. They're amazing pictures that we own. But going on to this. So you've got, somebody said they've got their cup of tea. Got it. So this is written by Olga, who was George's sister. So George is mentioned in here, George's sister. And she's writing as a young girl when she went to go and visit Hinchingbrooke, and she would visit her grandfather. So, and same with George, visit their grandfather, who was the 7th Earl of Sandwich. So he was John, and it was the 7th Earl of Sandwich. I am going to put in a little ad right here before I start storytelling. Please watch the ad through. It really does help me. It definitely helps me if you can just watch that ad through. So she is writing her memories of Hinchingbrooke, going to visit her grandfather, the 7th Earl of Sandwich. So here we go, everybody. It's actually quite exciting, and I actually want to go and visit some of the places where where they lived. So now I know where George grew up, which is 12 West Hawkins Street, and I used to teach yoga on West Hawkins Street, and our bank in London is on West Hawkins Street. I mean, you can't make this up. It's crazy. So here we go. Grab your cup of tea, and I am going to read it now. This is from written by Olga. In addition to our regular home life in number 12 West Hawkins Street, we spent at least 3 months in the summer at Sydney Lodge with our grandmother, Susan, the Countess of Hardwick, and about 2 months in the winter at Hinchingbrooke with Grandpapa Sandwich and Aunt Baba, she being our step-grandmother and considerably younger than him. I will interject for a while. So the 7th Earl was married, had a wife named Mary. She died, and he remarried after she died to who then became the next 7th Earl of Sandwich. Her name was Blanche, and I'm actually getting from Hinchingbrooke. We don't have a portrait of the 7th Earl of Sandwich. It was on loan there. I'm bringing it back to Mapperton, and we don't have a portrait of Blanche, the 7th Countess of Sandwich, the stepmother that they're referring to, step-grandmother they're referring to, and I'm bringing that portrait back as well. And the move, and she refers to the move as when they go into these visits, a great event to us, took place in under the care of Martin, or Marty, our beloved nurse, and the nursery maid. I cannot remember any front door arrival or greetings such as would be showered upon children nowadays. To the best of my recollection, drawn by Brown Stout and Clonmel, big brown carriage horses with coachman and footmen clad in their long drab overcoats and tall cockaded hats took us, bag and baggage, straight to the back door. Here, Cooper the steward, often our playfellow, received us with open arms. It was the work of a few minutes to reach the nurseries up the 3 flights of the old Cromwellian staircase, which many young Montagues must have climbed, and we soon settled into our familiar quarters. The rooms, since traversed by a passage made by my uncle, that would be the 8th Earl Uncle Hinch, then consisted of the large day nursery with 2 windows to the north and 1 to the west, leading up 3 steps to the night nursery, now maids' rooms, overlooking the front courtyard. Later, as we needed more space after the birth of Helen, my youngest sister, in 1880, the airy west room next to that of Lady Sandwich's lady maid, Miss Dunford, was also provided for us. During the years of the middle 70s down to 1884, so basically 1870s down to 1884, when my grandfather died, we did our lessons in the small tower room at the end of the short passage from the nursery with Miss Bird from Brampton. But when in 1883 we brought our first resident governess, Fräulein Corner, from London, the garden room, now the chapel room, became our school room. In those days, children, get this everybody, quote unquote, she writes, were to be seen and not heard. And one might add, rarely seen except at stated times. These were at prayers in the front hall, followed by the grown-ups breakfast in the ship room, which is now, she calls it now the small drawing room, And in the evenings at 5:30, we spent an hour or so playing on the floor with picture books and a wooden toy John Gilpin in Aunt Baba's, the seventh Countess of Sandwich, boudoir, now Lady Sandwich's bedroom, until fetched to go to bed. In spite of our habitual sense of awe felt in the presence of our elders, we were never afraid of my grandfather and loved his daily morning game of chivying Leo, the dandy Dinmont, to the breakfast room from the hall, and seeing him rush helter-skelter across the slippery oak floor of the corridor after large round pellets of crumb to the quote-unquote loo of his master. During this meal, we sat in the window with pencils and drawing books, silent and well-behaved, with the exception of one memorable occasion, a hunting day, when at least 5 or 6 uncles and guests were seated, dressed in scarlet coats and top boots, round the table. My brother George, who married Alberta, and I had been crawling under an avenue of chairs, twirling the rolls of their spurs, when an exasperated shout from my uncle, Colonel Oliver Montague, disclosed little George, then aged 4 or 5 years old, caught in the act of making pencil marks on the immaculate pink tops of Grandpa's hunting boots, evidently preferring their smooth surface to that of his drawing paper. With a, "Here, you young monkey, come out of that," he was hauled out from under the table and sent upstairs roaring. When called upon, we three, Mary, George, and myself, were accustomed to standing up in a row and sing little songs taught us by our mother, such as The Fox Hunting Boy, or Snowflakes, and The Owl and the Pussycat. The latter was Grandpapa's favorite, and from it, for some unknown reason, he dubbed me his delicate fowl, rarely calling me by any other name. He was a very handsome old man, upright and alert, with the most beautiful snow-white hair like asbestos, brushed back off his forehead, and deep-set blue eyes that looked keenly out from beneath bushy eyebrows. His mustache and whiskers were cut closely round his firm mouth and chin, and with a well-shaped Roman nose, he had something of the look of an eagle. I can see him as he walked in a big tweed cape, spud in hand, past the archway, as we would be gathering the scented white violets that grew in wild profusion close to the drive in those far-off days. On Sundays, the omnibus came around, and with him and Aunt Baba, we rattled down to the church in St. John's by the post office in town. Here, to my discomfort, the pews were too high to see over except when perched on a footstool during the singing, and the service seemed interminable. On these occasions, my grandpapa wore a tall hat and black frock buttoned up and looked specially handsome. My Aunt Baba wore a bonnet with strings and her invariable plain coat over a skirt looped up with flounces. Up to the age of 70, Grandpa hunted regularly with the Fitzwilliam and the Cambridgeshire hounds and kept the stables full of hunters and carriage horses, which we used to visit with him and Aunt Baba on Sundays directly after church, and fed with carrots laid out on the windowsills. It was at these moments that she would relax into something approaching a display of affection as she fondled and patted the arched necks and watched the horses crunching their juicy morsels. In accepting a kiss from us children, she would invariably respond with a peck and a tightly drawn cheek presented in sufferance of our dutiful affection. Grandpapa's favorite mounts: the Gunner, a dark chestnut; the Hawk, a golden ditto; and the Miller, so called from the white flecks all over his roan body, stood in boxes next to the Fives Court on the north stable of the yard. 6 stalls to the right of the coachman contained carriage horses, amongst which I remember Clonmel, Brownstout, Tom Steele in particular, whilst away to the left were the hunters we knew less about. Aunt Baba hunted a mare called Brass de Fer, but gave it up after being thrown in the stable yard, her mount having bolted home with her from the hunting field. Certain simple games entirely associated with the Hinchingbrooke household consisted in chasing Mr. Bowie, the head gardener, playing at horses with long tails of white tulle supplied by the lady's maid, Miss Dunford, and best of all, the romps with beloved Mr. Cooper, the steward, who would dandle a black silk barabond pig for us to catch on a string, and during his visits to the nursery, lift us off from the sofa high over the screen to the mysterious slogan of walk up, ladies and gentlemen, and see the live lions stuffed with straw. This maneuver caused the greatest excitement and was repeated again and again amid peals of laughter and ferocious yells until he was breathless. There was also thrilling visits to the housekeeper's room and Mrs. Whitehead's inner sanctum, the storeroom, containing certain large tins from which we extracted little diamond and heart-shaped sponge cakes which we loved. A less familiar figure was Monsieur Desier, the French chef, who though not unfriendly to us, never penetrated to the nurseries, and we never crossed his kitchen threshold. And then she put our meals, particularly luncheon downstairs with the grandparents, were as simple as the rest of our routine. Whereas there might be attractive entrees for them under the silver covers upon the table, for us there was the invariable roast mutton joint upon the sideboard and plain rice milk, corn flour, or tapioca puddings, which I in particular had the greatest difficulty in swallowing down. Little conversation took place at these meals, but an unusually prolonged silence would be suddenly broken, much to our amusement, by Grandpapa pointing at his wife and explaining, "Look at great-great-great-great-great-grandmama," as she, in a calm, calculating manner, broke off pieces of raisin cake and tossed them to the expectant Leo, which probably would have been the dog. And then here it goes, and this is kind of my last bit to read, but it's about Christmas. Little effort was made to celebrate Christmas, and of presents there were none. A half-lit tree in the hall bearing a few wax lemons and apples, and tiny cardboard drums filled with chalky sweets was for several years our only entertainment, until, on my mother's arrival one December, she arranged German tables of Christmas presents for us up in the nursery, followed by games, in some sort of protest on our behalf. However, when all was said and done, we were a very happy little party and loved the large rooms and long passages to run along, making our own games for ourselves contentedly, although we really preferred the summer visit to Sydney Lodge, which were their other grandparents, and the greater liberty we enjoyed there with our indulgent granny, Hardwick. So I really just love that. And then she goes in through, she describes all of kind of the different rooms at Hinchingbrooke, which again is just really lovely. And then she describes the gardens, the beautiful, amazing gardens. And I think what's really lovely is that, you know, these children were there for 2 months and they had to use their imagination to make up games, and they didn't have playmates or neighbors down the road. Their friends were the staff in the house and probably the staff's children as well. So they had to make do with using their own creative minds and not going on technology and iPads and, you know, social media. I thought it was just really beautiful and telling. So yes. So I thought that was really fantastic just to hear that. And I think hopefully you enjoyed that. And again, as the transcription starts, the transcribing starts to happen, which will be happening, I imagine that the first batch of letters should come in around May, and that will be 480 letters, everybody, coming in. So there will be a lot to read and to go through and to sort through. So again, Thank you all so, so much. If you are interested in joining the Summer Supper Club, again, it will be either the end of May or the beginning of March. Get on the wait list now. You can join the wait list now. All information is in that click right here. So do click it. Join the, again, if you're just joining now, these are Alberta's recipes and we will be cooking from them together, and you will also be receiving her recipes from the live cooking show is really what it is. The live cooking show. Good. I'm so happy some of you will be rewatching. That's amazing. Do get on the waiting list, and I will be here next Wednesday as well. So we will be doing another live next Wednesday. I hope to get the Muniment room done hopefully by then, or nearly by then. That is my plan. And fingers crossed with that. I can't promise that we'll go live in the Muniment room then to see it. Probably not. It just depends. But we will be doing other letter readings. And my plan is next week is to also just to start scanning up the letters, which is great. And Lucy, who's in Cambridge, she's an American. She's like, is helping me on this project as an in-person. She will be coming down to Mapperton to help me with the scanning of the letters as well. So lots going on, everybody. Thank you all for joining. I was just going to wait. Should we just wait a couple minutes so we can just hear the clock read? So Eileen, yeah, The Lost Child of Hollisters. I'm filming that next week, and that will go up on American Viscountess YouTube as a proper episode. So I am filming that next week, and then we will edit that properly. And once that is edited properly, that will come up. So it will come up in April. Some of you have asked me about the coronation. Here it goes. Isn't that just a lovely sound? Coronation, all the past Viscount and Viscountess Hinchingbrookes have been invited to the coronation, but we know times have changed. And whereas Queen Elizabeth II, I think there were 8,000 at her coronation. For King Charles III, there's just over 2,000. But no, I'm not invited, but I am invited to commentate on it. So I am there on the day, and I will be with various networks. I can't say which networks yet, but because I'm just signing my contracts. But I am with various networks, and I will be there on the 6th and the 7th of May in London. Yes. So, and those of you virtual volunteers, the time for the Zoom, most likely on the 15th, will be at 3 p.m. UK time. Is that right? Is that where we're going? I think that's too early for Pacific Standard Time. Sorry. It's going to be 5 p.m. UK time. Sorry about that, which is 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. There you go. There you go. There you go. All right. Bye, everybody. I'm going to grab some supper, and I'll see you back next week. Bye, everybody.